That's ridiculous. Ann Coulter, what do you say about that? She dated you.
Well, sometimes people feel a bit jilted. They get a little
Oh
bit.
my gosh!
Then suddenly they start denouncing,
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a very special guest, the one, the only, Dinesh D'Souza. You know him, he's a great documentarian. We've watched all of his stuff. He woke me up to a lot of stuff during COVID, during the lockdowns. I'm very thankful for that. Welcome to the show, Dinesh. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, thank you. I've got a new film out in the theaters now. It's called Vindicating Trump, and the website vindicatingtrump.com. That's where you can buy movie tickets.
And we definitely all want to go watch this documentary. But tell me this, we just had the debate last night. What did you think about the debate real quick before we get in the doc?
Well, I think that, Tim Walz does his over-the-top goofball routine. The problem was he was up against a guy who is genuinely interesting and thoughtful and has lived a fascinating life coming up from the dregs of poverty, gotten a really good education, become a business success. I mean, J.D. Vance outmatched Tim Walz. Tim Walz, I think, looked like kind of like a 60-year-old overgrown adolescent to me.
That's a very good description. But honestly, and the reason why I wanted you to say, I actually wanted you to say that you would have liked Vivek Ramaswamy instead of J.D. Vance. Is that not true?
Well, no. I mean, I do think Vivek was smart to run in the Trump lane. In fact, I think had DeSantis run on Vivek's platform, he would have gone a lot further.
Yeah.
He went against Trump. It was a huge tactical blunder.
Yeah.
But I like Vivek. Vivek's great. But I've also, it's kind of funny, I had JD on my podcast and he comes on. Now, my name, Dinesh, is pronounced Dinesh in America, but in India, it's not. It's Dinesh.
Dinesh,
right?
yes. So he's married to an Indian woman.
Yeah, so he comes
knows.
on, he goes, hello, Dinesh. And I was like, I'm a little startled because I haven't heard my name said that way in like 30 years.
Wow.
But then I realized, yes, it's the wife. She probably told him, make sure you pronounce his name Dinesh.
Okay, well, conspiracy, Vivek, you just said, I thought it's properly pronounced Vivek, like a rake. Is that, so it's Vivek is the proper?
No, in India it's Vivek.
Vivek. Okay, so I haven't been saying it correctly, okay? Thank you. I never know if I say this stuff right. I'm an idiot, went to public school here in Texas, so you know that I'm not very smart. But you are. When we talk about Vivek, J.D. Vance's son is named Vivek. Do you think that's kind of a crazy correlation? And they went to law school together.
Yeah, I know, and I do think it is a little abnormal to name your kid after your buddy in college. I resisted that temptation myself. It's crazy. Doesn't make any sense.
It is crazy, and you and I like conspiracies.
Admittedly, Vivek is kind of a mainstream Indian name, sort of like Dinesh, by the way. So it could be that Usha, his wife, came up with it, and actually JD was not directly involved.
Yeah, maybe. But okay, now tell us a little bit about this documentary. We only have you for a few minutes. I love Donald Trump. I'm very worried in this upcoming election. Even if he gets the most votes, they're not going to let him win because they've tried to assassinate him twice. I don't think that's going to stop. And I just believe that the deep state, that is really these unelected bureaucrats that are controlling everything, will do anything to make sure that Donald Trump is not in office. Is that a crazy assumption?
That is the simple truth of the matter. And the only question is, can they succeed? Can they pull it off? Now, I think they've got a horrible candidate, Harris.
Yeah. She stinks. Everybody admits that.
And if enough Americans don't, there's a massive propaganda effort aimed at telling the American people, don't believe your lying eyes, don't believe the gas prices, don't believe your pocketbook, don't believe the hordes of people you see coming over the border. We got this new, improved Kamala. Yeah. I don't think people will go for that. People may be dumb, but they're not suckers to that degree. The other thing is Trump has shown, I think, in the two assassination attempts, a level of sublime bravery that is unique. He was able to show a side of himself that they've tried to hide. And the centerpiece of the film is a one-on-one with Trump. And many people who have seen Trump up close realize there's a dimension of Trump that he himself resists putting on the public stage. What
do you mean? So there's like a man behind the...
No. I just mean Trump was raised in such a way that his inner thoughts, his feelings, any vulnerability, he doesn't want to show it.
Yes.
Remember when Dr. Phil tried to interview him and was asking him psychological questions?
That's a very good description. He doesn't like to be very vulnerable.
He runs away from that stuff. I tried to get him up close, face to face, and bring out aspects of him that I think will endear him more to the American people. if they saw it, and I think they will see it in this film.
Well, that's what I like about Trump is that he is who he is. He's not going to sit there and go, I came from a middle-class family. He admits that his dad gave him $1 million and that he turned it into $1 billion, which is incredible in my opinion. And he doesn't hide the fact that, you know, he's an affluent person that wants to be more affluent. Like, I like it. We know who he is, but I don't like when Kamala Harris says that she worked at McDonald's and she didn't work at McDonald's. I call that stolen McValor. For me as a McDonald's customer, I love those fries, and she's going to lie about fries. So I like that he is genuine, but when you say that he's not that vulnerable, you know, he used to call into the Howard Stern show as a big fan, and he did seem really more laid back when he wasn't a president. So I guess he's not very vulnerable, but he does seem pretty laid back, though, right? Like, he doesn't seem that judgmental.
The thing is, his life changed in a single moment. And we have this in the film. You remember the famous scene in the escalator. Trump is at the top, he comes down. So here's what's going on, in my opinion. You have all the cultural elites at the top of the escalator, right?
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell's up there, and you know, Ellen DeGeneres is up there, and Oprah, and all the Hollywood people, and they love Trump, right? But what does he do? He gets on the escalator, he goes down, he descends. And who's down? In my view, who's down here is the forgotten Americans, the people who've been screwed over, whose jobs have been traded away. And he's not one of them, and he didn't have to join them. But he did, and so they are devoted to him. Meanwhile, the guys at the top of the escalator are like, you know what? This guy's selling us out. He was one of us. He's now joined the pitchfork people down there, and he's taking their cause against us. So you can see how the same people that loved him, adored him, turned viciously against him.
Yeah, I mean, all the Hollywood elites, all the rappers that now hate him, all loved him. They all rapped in their songs about him. So it just shows you how ingenuine they all are and how easily they're, like, I guess, brainwashed by the mainstream media. But now, when it comes to the work that you're doing, let's be real. I think you and I would both have some criticisms on Trump, a little bit about the pandemic, a little bit of that handling, even though I love Donald Trump. Do you think, and the reason why I say this is I think when he gets a second chance, he's going to make that right. You know, some of the stuff that he did. Do you have that same opinion that he's going to kind of, a few of the hiccups, I wouldn't even say mistakes, you know, he took other people's advice, but I think the redemption arc will be what really makes him probably the most important president of American history, in my opinion.
He came in as an outsider. I think he knew the media is left-wing, Hollywood is left-wing, academia is left-wing. I don't think he knew the FBI is left-wing.
Yeah.
The CIA is left-wing. The military is left-wing. I don't think he knew that the CDC and the NIH, the people in the white coats, can't be trusted.
Yeah.
So I think what happened is he thought, I'll bring in a general, John Kelly. Military people are, you know, you tell them what to do, they do it.
Yeah.
So he'll carry out my vision, my instructions. He didn't realize the depth of the subversion and the corruption. I think he does now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think that he was kind of bamboozled. He sees Dr. Fauci as a guy that worked there forever, probably trusted him because why would he have a job there forever if he stunk at his job? Now, I don't think that he would treat those same people the way he treated them in his first term. So that's why I think it's so important. But what do you think is going to happen? We're 35 days away from the election. What do you predict? And I know you don't know it because nobody does, but what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think that Trump will win if it is not for a new form of cheating. And I emphasize a new form of cheating because you can't cheat the same way. If you sent 2,000 mules in the middle of the night with backpacks and ballots, patriots are going to be looking for that.
Yeah.
They know about that. So what we do in this film is we have a section called the ballot makers. And you got to see this because it'll drive you nuts. It turns out that it is possible for fraudsters to make ballots. You and I can make ballots. We think, how can you make a ballot? You know, we can't make a $20 bill, but see, a $20 bill has a watermark, and a $20 bill has a string of digits. It has a distinctive set of numbers on it, right? Ballots don't.
That's what I was thinking. I was just about to say, I think a ballot would be easy to counterfeit.
A ballot is easy to counterfeit. So it turns out that you can buy legitimate ballot stock, the paper, the legitimate ballot paper.
From the distributor or from whoever?
From all the various houses that sell it to the states.
Yeah, because it's not like the paper that we use money. I mean, this is like normal paper or what, you know, I mean, it's...
Well, it's paper to a certain specification, but my point is you can buy it, right? Then if you request an absentee ballot from the state of Maine or the state of Texas, you have the ballot. It doesn't even say sample. It's a real ballot.
Yeah.
You can go down to a print shop, make 10,000 copies. You will have 10,000 real ballots.
Wow.
And so anyway, when we hired a couple of investigators and they came and told me we can do this, I'm like, listen, don't say it in the movie, go do it. Because I want you to show me that you can buy the ballots, have them delivered to your door, you can make the ballots, you can fill them out, and you can put them in the tabulator and they're going to work. So, I mean, what's my point of all this is not obviously to instruct people on how to cheat, right? It's to blow the cover of potential cheaters. And of course, I told Trump about this. I raised it with Laura Trump, who's in the movie, and they were like blown away. They're like, we can't believe this. So, I think if we can cut off the fraud at the pass before it happens, the left is out of options. They've tried everything, like you say. They don't have anything left.
Yeah, but gosh, the fact that they can counterfeit those ballots, and then you did such a great job in 2,000 Mules, but ballot harvesting is still legal. So, I mean, they still can harvest ballots legally.
Yeah, although our team is doing it too now.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good. We need to fight fire with fire. So, do you think that the system, I remember Hillary Clinton, they said we should get rid of the Electoral College. And now that everything depends on Pennsylvania, a state that their oil and gas reserves could make them very wealthy, and Trump wants to drill there, they would be stupid not to vote for Donald Trump. But is that annoying that it all comes down to freaking Pennsylvania?
It is not a good reflection in this country that when you have a candidate like Kamala Harris, she's still getting half the country behind her. I mean, that's a bad sign, right?
Yeah.
In a way, the media is counting on the American people to be abysmally stupid. And in some ways, I think it's the IQ of the American people that's on the ballot in November.
Okay, now we have to ask the hard question. So we have Dinesh D'Souza, the guy's a legendary guy. You ever heard the term of sapiosexual?
I do know what it means.
It means that you're attracted to somebody because they're smart. Now, this is the hard question. You've had a lot of famous girlfriends in the past, Dinesh. Is it not just because you're a handsome man, or is it because you're so smart? Why do the women love you? And that's true. A lot of people might not know this. You have a lot of famous ex-girlfriends.
I think I'd have to rank it as looks, number one.
So you think looks? That's why you've had so many beautiful ladies?
Charm, number two. Good taste, number three.
You have a very.
I'd have to put a little bit of intelligence as number 4 or 5.
Wow, I'm surprised. And you have a very beautiful family. Your daughter's beautiful. You're a handsome guy. Not pause. What do they say in those on the rap thing? I think if you say some, or no Diddy.
I am speaking as they say, ironically.
No, nothing's ironic. This guy, you've been with some beautiful ladies, handsome guy. Okay, last question. We do want to ask you something about pop culture. What do you think about Puff Daddy and all this stuff that's going to come out, that he's kind of like the Jeffrey Epstein of the record or rap industry, and that he has tapes of all these people doing compromising stuff? Do you think that, he might end up like Epstein?
It's possible, but let me just say this. It's the one time, for the first time, I've actually seen Obama's name mentioned in this case. And this is the most protected guy in the world. So if this ends up being the lasso, the loop that pulls out Obama, I mean, I for one will be delighted.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And we know Obama has a very sordid history. I think in his in his biography, he admitted that he did cocaine, which is, fine, I guess. He admitted to it. I think that's kind of admirable. But I think that it was Larry Sellers, I believe, was a guy.
Larry Sinclair,
Larry Sinclair said that they had a sexual tryst. And I believe at these parties, and you probably know this too, that they make men do homosexual stuff in order to blackmail them. Or they have them, like Jeffrey Epstein would have them sleep with a child as blackmail, because that's embarrassing. If you make a video of you with a pretty girl, that's really not that big a deal. But you have a video with another guy or with a kid, that is a big deal.
You remember the scene, it's right out of The Godfather, where you got the senator from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
What do? They bring in a young girl, they film him. The young girl is covered in blood. I mean, this is an old playbook.
Yeah.
And apparently it's connected with real life. It's really creepy.
All right, so tell them, last thing, tell them about the documentary. Why does everybody need to go see it? Why is it so important?
It is a documentary that shows Trump in the round, a whole aspect and phase of Trump that you've never seen before. And you'll like it. You'll be thrilled about it. It makes a case for Trump. Trump's interesting. He goes out there, he does this thing. He doesn't make the case for Trump. Reagan would make the case for Reagan. Trump doesn't make the case for Trump. I have a book called Vindicating Trump. It does that. The film does that. And the website is vindicatingtrump.com.
And Dinesh is a little bit like Trump. Trump's been with a lot of beautiful women. Dinesh has been with beautiful women. We have to bring up the two, though, and I do not get mad. Laura Ingraham, one of the most famous hosts of Fox News, and Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter is a good friend of mine. Tell me this, who is the better lover?
Let's just say that I wasn't dating them at the same time. That might have been a little problematic.
Well, that doesn't answer the question, though. Well, Ann Coulter, then she said that stuff about she wouldn't let an Indian guy in the country. That's ridiculous. Ann Coulter, what do you say about that? She dated you.
Well, sometimes people feel a bit jilted. They get a little
Oh
bit.
my gosh,
Then suddenly they start denouncing, 1 billion Indians.
Oh my gosh, we love our Indians. We love Dinesh. We love Ann.
She's going to go the way of Nick. I thought it was that guy Fuentes.
Yeah, now she's like,
talking about JD Vance's wife eating a lot of curry and casting spells and stuff.
I know, that's what they said in the thing. But that's one thing, though. I went to high school at Highland Park High School, a lot of SMU, there's a lot of Indians in Dallas. I'm saying, Indians are actually great people, smart people. Why do people hate people from India? Why is that?
I don't think it makes any sense because the thing about Indians is that they're easygoing, and most of them, if you really look at them from a certain angle, they're actually kind of funny.
That's all my buddies, Jay Mandy. I'm saying all my Indian buddies are laid back, really cool guys. It's weird how people don't like Indians, but I get if it's a Haitian guy eating your cat, but I've never heard of an Indian ever eating somebody's cat.
At least not by choice.
Not by choice. All right, guys, go watch the documentary. We love Dinesh D'Souza. Thank you for watching. And Dinesh, how can they support you before we go?
The movie is the place to go. The website is vindicatingtrump.com. You can also pre-order the book there, or you obviously can get it from Amazon as well. Book's out in a few days.
Thank you, Dinesh.
Thank you very much.
Legendary guy right here. Everybody go support Dinesh D'Souza.